to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod and the next part to our Andor Aftershow, which for Season 2 is going to run 4 episodes long. 12 episodes in this season, but they are releasing them 3 at a time every week at 6 p.m. PST on Tuesday night, best night of the week. So other than, of course, the night that this Aftershow drops for your entertainment. And we have joining us our co-host Blake, as well as our good friends Matt and Darian, and we are going to chat, break down episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Andor Season 2. We're just going to give it our Pablo points of Poodoos, if any of you know what that is, so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Another happy landing.
All right. Welcome back, Blake.
Ahoy. I made it.
Ahoy.
By the skin of my teeth.
Yeah.
I think Matt as well.
We are halfway through Season 2 after only 2 weeks of Andor coming out, which blows my mind.
If I'm honest, it's kind of disappointing. I don't want it to go by that quickly. We're at the 50% mark, man.
I know, right?
Like,
it's like watching a movie each week, though, right? Like I watch them all together in one cluster. So like for me, it's
I would
like
do that if I had the time.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours usually on average. Like if you put the 3 together, because they don't run 50-something minutes each, right? Like
only if you're gonna sit through all the credits and the whole intro and the flashback.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I will say I feel like this show is, if I were to describe it, the way it's being released is an ice cream cone, because it's just going by really fast and you really enjoy it, but once it's gone, it's gone.
It is.
It's got a limited window.
That's right. All right, and with us this week, we also have Matt. It's been a while, Matt. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Awesome. And I guess when was the last time that anyone heard your voice? Do you remember?
My voice?
Yeah.
It might have been on maybe one of the fun episodes after we did the Skeleton Crew.
I think so.
Episodes.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Oh, you were there for the finale.
Yeah, you were there for so all like most of the Skeleton Crew, and then I think maybe like a few after that, and then so it's been a few months.
You're here for the good stuff, not the filler.
Yeah. So it's great to have you back for the Andor After Show, and we also have Darian. So welcome back, Darian.
Thank you very much. This is the main.
Awesome, and great to have you back as well. So it's a smaller group tonight. Kirk sadly couldn't be here, and neither could Nick or Shauna or pretty much the rest of the gang. But hopefully we get some Pablo Poodoos and Pablo points coming in over
hopefully
the
not Poodoos, but we'll see.
Yeah, over the intercom. Maybe we'll get something coming in, but if not, then it'll just be ours for now. And by the end of the show, we'll go through all the ratings of the team averages, and we'll kind of just compare the 4 different story arcs and whatnot. So something I actually want to start off with that I forgot to actually talk about last week was the impressive runtimes for Andor. And if anyone isn't familiar with the Star Wars Escape Pod True Runtime Tracker spreadsheet, I have put
Link in
all
the
that.
description.
I've merged that document with our podcast archive spreadsheet, so you can find that through our Linktree link, which is down below in the description of every single episode that we do. So hit the Linktree, and then you can find it from there. It's also, I think, its own separate link other than that, just called Podcast Archives. It's a giant spreadsheet. We keep track of all the episodes we've done on there, all the Star Wars Launchpad episodes on there, our rating system for everything that we give Pablo Points of Poodoos to, the true runtime tracker, which cuts out the intro and the flashbacks and the credits and all that, and really actually gives you a good idea for how long the episode really is, like how long we're actually sitting there for. So
That's right. Disney's not sneaking any filler past us.
that's right. So we also rank them because, I feel like we've kind of all agreed the gold standard is 35 minutes, at the very least.
Yeah, I think so.
So, we rank them with like, hey, did it check off the box for over 35 minutes? Does it run over 20? Does it run over 30? Does it run over 40? And believe it or not, there's some that run over 50 minutes long, and that is without the Lucasfilm logo, the Star Wars intro, the credits.
It's a proper runtime.
That's a proper runtime. Yeah. So yeah, there's only a handful of those, but
is that Andor as well?
No, it does not have an over 50-minute episode, despite what Disney Plus says. I know a lot of people are like, what? That's because there's like 10 minutes of international credits on the end. So I will read off the numbers now for the last 6 episodes, so because I forgot to do the first 3 last week. So starting from episode 1 of season 2, the real runtime was 47 minutes and 53 seconds. So that got the gold star for over 35 minutes. That was season 2, episode 1, 45 minutes, 33 seconds. Yeah, did I say that?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, anyways, yeah, gold star there.
Yeah.
Season 2, episode 2, 36 minutes and 46 seconds. So
that was a near pass.
It's still in the good territory, but we're still gold starring it for the over 35-minute mark. Episode 3 came out with a 44-minute and 38-second runtime, also hits the box. And the following 3 episodes also hit the box. The ones that we're talking about this week all hit over 35 minutes. Episode 4 ran 46 minutes and 10 seconds long. Episode 5, 46 minutes and 43 seconds long. And episode 6, 46 minutes and 52 seconds long.
I noticed that because when I watched them back to back, they almost the exact same runtime.
Yes, exactly. So they were very, very close.
I was a little bit disappointed because I was rushing. It didn't matter in the end, but I'm like, man. Of course, the longest episodes are I'm like just trying to hammer it in the last minute.
Totally. So I know we're only halfway through, but so far we are running at a full 50% are over 35 minutes. With Andor season 1 in comparison, we had 11 out of 12 episodes hit that 35-minute minimum runtime, approximating 91.67% of the season being over 35 minutes. And that's so far the record breaker. So like if you ever want to inspect all this for yourself, we got all the shows on there, all the shows on the spreadsheet. It's kind of fun to look at, and it's fun to see which episodes cracked 50 minutes. You might be surprised.
So if you just want some info in your tool belt so you can argue with your friends, here's some information.
Exactly. Here's some useless information for all of y'all.
Except for the most hardcore Star Wars fans that will bicker about anything.
That's right. Yeah, because we nitpick about everything.
That's right, man.
Down to the screws, am I right?
Those bricks.
Yeah, those bricks and those screws. Yeah. All right.
What's funny? It's funny that you say that because I love looking at the background, and since I just binged all 6, I keep looking in the background, but the depth of field is so thick, it's forcing me just to focus on the main characters where the director is going to look. It's funny because usually, with Star Wars, it's fun to look in the background, production design stuff in the back, and the characters in the back.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to do that. Anyways.
So Matt, maybe you can kick us off this week because we actually don't have your initial impressions or anything about the first 3 episodes. So what were your feelings when you went into season 2? Like how'd you feel about this season so far? And what was your Pablo Points and Poodoos, for the first arc of the season?
And I'm also coming into this kind of blind because I have no idea what you guys have said so far. So I have no idea.
It's good. It's unbiased.
Yeah, so, fresh take. So what's fun about this too is that I realized like last night before the podcast, like I still haven't seen, I think it was the last 3 or 4 episodes of season 1. So I binged like the last one last night until like 2:30 in the morning, and then I just binged all 6 today. And so I had the pleasure of like going right into it, right? Went right into season 2. How does the Pablo point system go?
So Pablo points and poodoos. Yeah, we should explain that to any new listeners out there. 3 Pablo poodoos is the worst of the worst. 2 Pablo poodoos is like pretty bad. 1 Pablo poodoo is bad. A Bendu is the one in the middle. That's 50% score. 1 Pablo point is good. 2 Pablo points is great, and 3 Pablo points is just terrific. So, what would you give the first 3 as a whole? You know, as a story arc, if you were to like just count it as like a movie, like what would you give it?
The first 3, I'd give it 2.
Okay, 2 Pablo points for. Okay, yeah, that's like
It's very consistent.
That's very consistent with kind of the rest of us. Like some of us did 2, some of us did 2.5. So we're and you can give a 0.5 as well, by the way, if you want to, but
no pressure.
But no pressure. Yeah, that's an option though.
I'm like 2.3. I'll give it 2.5. I'll do 2.5. Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah. 2.5. Okay.
Talk him into it, Josh.
Well, I'll upgrade you. I'll upgrade you.
Increase your average.
I'm just seeing some scores coming in from Shauna, and I pressed the wrong button or what, but she's given each of the 3 first episodes 1 Pablo Poodoo.
Oh wow.
Which is a new score for me to look at on this.
She's got to explain that then.
Sorry, that's Nick, not Shauna. Sorry. Shauna was with us last week. She gave 2 Pablo points. That's Nick. Dude, what the heck? All right. That brings down the team average to 1.5 Pablo points for the first story arc of the season. And we're going to kick things off with episode 4 of season 2, Ever Been to Ghorman? That's what this episode's called. So what I'm going to do is just read off a little bit of stuff, and then we can talk about kind of how we like this story and, so on and so forth. So, so this was directed by Ariel Kleeman, same as all the other episodes that we've seen so far. Written by Bo Williman, and this episode, along with all the rest tonight, came out April 29th, 2025. 1 year after the incident on Mina Rao, Cassian and Bix have become active operators for Luthen and hide out on Coruscant. Though Bix is still beset by nightmares of Dr. Gorst, on Ghorman, the Empire begins building an armory. Cyril, and with Dedra and Partakaz's backing, takes up a position on Ghorman and pretends to be sympathetic to the rebels' cause, to feign being successfully recruited. Upon learning from Jung that Dedra is secretly working on the planet, Luthen sends Cassian to assess the rebels. Wilman is tasked with teaching one of Saw's men named Pluty to work a Rhydonium extractor as part of a fuel heist. Mon Mothma unsuccessfully attempts to rally support to kill the renewal of a bill giving broad power to the ISB. So a lot of stuff happened in this episode. I feel like there's a lot to kind of get into here because it's 1 year after the last story arc, and just so everyone knows, like every week that we watch 3 more episodes, it's always going to be 1 year towards Rogue One.
Interesting.
The whole season, every week, and that's part of the reason why they're doing 3 at a time, because it just kind of, I think, views better.
Yeah, it's easier to track. It'd be very confusing if every 3 weeks it jumps a year.
Yeah, so it's 1 year later again, and the next 2 weeks will be 1 year again and 1 year again. Ironically enough, this entire season overlaps completely with Star Wars Rebels, 100%.
This episode arc right now.
Yeah. The whole show, the whole show,
because they were trying to lead up same thing up to episode 4.
Yeah, but the end of season 4 of Star Wars Rebels happens before Rogue One and all that, but it's a 4-season show in the way that this is a 4-arc season. You know what I mean? So each week is 3 episodes, and that is 1 year worth of time. Mm-hmm. In Star Wars Rebels, each season was 15 to 22 episodes, and that was also about a year's worth of time.
Yep, that's true.
Kind of crazy. So it's always weird when I think about it because I'm like, man, this is cool. Anytime I'm watching these characters and this story, I keep thinking about what Ezra and Kanan and stuff are
what they're doing at that moment.
Yeah.
I want to see, to be honest, I think it'd be really cool to see some sort of connection to it, as in maybe Luthen interacts with the rebel crew somehow. Maybe it's just you come in as he's sending them a message on some mission or something.
It would be really, really cool to have
something that small, just tie it together, yes. Right?
Well, and Ghorman was referenced in Star Wars Rebels, the Ghorman massacre, the plot that
is what is that what the monuments for?
Moff Tarkin.
Yes.
Okay.
The Moff Tarkin thing. Yeah, it was referenced in Star Wars Rebels. Yeah. Now, it's been a little while since you and I watched Star Wars Rebels, which was leading into Ahsoka. We did it back
Last
then,
year?
but
You're
2 years ago almost now, which is
Man.
kind of nuts. But yeah, Matt, you kind of know what I'm talking about there. Do you kind of remember that reference?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
That was cool.
very
That was-
cool. Yeah, very cool stuff. And also, there's an episode in Star Wars Rebels where the Ghost crew has to transport Mon Mothma somewhere
Yeah.
because she's like come out of the shadows.
She's on
and
the run.
She's on the run now, right?
I'm wondering if they're going to lead up to that.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
wonder
I've
if
been
that's
back
going
of
to
my
be like
head.
an Andor, like maybe Andor is going to show us what came before the episode of Star Wars Rebels where they have to like pick her up and like transport her somewhere, right? Like that's pretty cool if they do.
Yeah,
that.
I'd be interested in that arc if they did it, for sure.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then we're going to have to get like Tales of the Senate animated series.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, okay, let's start. Darian, what did you think of this episode?
The number 4, you could write a book on that opening phone call between Cyril and his mother. There's so much like nuance and back and forth and subtext to that scene. It was amazing. It was so well done. And did these 3 episodes seem more cinematic to everyone else than the previous 3?
I think I would say yes.
To me, I think being able to flash between these different storylines a bit more frequently, cutting back and forth and having that suspense with multiple plot lines kind of feed the episode, to me felt more like a movie. And how movies typically do it as well.
Yeah, I can agree with that because I feel like the last arc, 3 episodes, the way they cut between the characters, it felt like Game of Thrones, where you just kind of get like a 7-minute segment of each storyline.
Yeah,
but like even they break the fourth wall in the last shot of the first episode with the Ghorman rebel leader looking right down the barrel in this long, soulful shot. They tell a lot of emotion in this episode by doing these long moving shots, and like there's a lot of choices where they're filming from a table height for somebody that's standing to like express certain points as they're going through. I found that these episodes really, really pushed that the camera was telling more of the story than what was actually happening.
Yeah, very, very perceptive. Yeah.
I agree with that. I feel like there was a lot of that through these 3 episodes as opposed to the first arcs, and that might be also trying to use that as a mechanism to try to sell more tension to what's going on because it's almost more political. There's not as much interjected action in these 3 episodes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Season 4. Episode 4 did feel like a really strong first act of a script, and then as it went into 5, like a strong second act, and then 6 was like awesome third act, and the arcs were just amping up each time between episode 4 into 5 and 6. Like it was pretty awesome. It was well written.
Yeah, very. Yeah, Ghorman is an interesting planet. I don't know if anyone else has enjoyed watching the Andor Declassified YouTube video that they do every week, but on
news to me.
The Star Wars YouTube channel, there's a video that they put out each week for. It's just one like 10-minute video, and it's like a kind of like, you remember how they did Rebels Recon?
I was just gonna say this is exactly for the Rebel show, so that's really funny they picked this show to do it for.
Yes, so it's similar but not as like
as for a child audience.
Yes, it's not as like for a child. Yeah, it's not a child audience thing. It's like it's got a lot more emotion driving it, and it kind of feels like it could be on like a Blu-ray special features thing or whatever.
Is there cameos from Pablo?
No.
But
Tony Gilroy's in it.
It'll never be as high in my heart until Pablo shows up.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, well, I mean,
it's also on Disney Plus, right?
Rebels Recon.
I think it means the
Andor.
No, the extras for this. Yeah, for Andor, it's like in the extras, right? It's the declassified.
Oh, yeah, it's insane set, right on the set of Pinewood, and
that's beautiful.
It was very nice. Yeah, it was very complete. They talked about the complexity of absolutely everything, all the details, all the props, all the food.
Look good.
Everything.
Did they use the volume in the background, or was it all like green screen?
They didn't go that far as far as talking about.
Because the lighting looked really natural.
Yeah, well, there's an outside set.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There's a backlot set.
Well, they incorporate a lot of organic shapes into their structures, I noticed. And when you get more into like the Imperial sections, that's where you start to notice the harsh angles on everything. But like, I really appreciated the world building of Ghorman because everything that was like pre-Empire, you can tell it's got a bit of age and stuff. It's designed to be decadent, and like it has every aspect of it has permeated entertaining into it. If you look at the pillars that go from the roof down, they turn into these seats, but everything's empty, showing that this used to be a bustling civilization where everyone would come through and socialize and look everywhere on the planet. But now it's completely lost that identity.
Yeah,
I noticed that too.
Yeah,
like it just everything feels empty from what it looks like it should be. I think it's even referenced in one of the episodes.
Right. Yeah, and
the coffee shop.
Yeah, and it's what was cool about it is it's kind of inspired by. I think they said it was inspired by a bit of Italian sort of culture, but the language that they used is based on
French?
The sound of French.
Yeah, it sounded French. I was trying to figure out if they just got lazy and just used French, or if it's like a made up language that's similar.
It's made up, but it's like based on the
because the way the actors in the scene spoke it just seemed so fluent. It didn't seem like they were fumbling like sometimes you get when people are speaking Hadith.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that's why I wasn't even sure if that was actual French or not.
Yeah,
I think they did that very purposely because a lot of this episode said to me about how the English took North America from the French and the Spanish. Like, there really seemed to be a metaphor for that, the Manifest Destiny time, because like a lot of the tactics that they use are similar. I'm trying to think, there was a scene specific to what I'm thinking of.
I'm curious to hear where you're going with this, because I felt like it was almost a direct reference to the French resistance against the Nazis.
It's definitely part of that too. But especially like they portrayed the Ghormans the way a lot of people try and portray the French in their modern times of like they're so decadent and arrogant and whatnot, especially when it comes to fashion. I mean, that's stuff I hear all the time when I'm talking to people in the fashion industry here. But so how the English tried to get the natives to turn against the French was they were doing all of these propaganda things and blaming the French for stuff and like putting rafts down the rivers of body parts and whatnot. The Imperials are kind of doing that in a more subtle way here with these people. So I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of real world events that they're referencing in the show. I think it's pretty clever the way they're doing it.
Yeah. It's also really cool to see this time jump of 1 year later, because in the first story arc, we do have that discussion in the conference room with Krennic and Dedra and everyone in there. They're discussing the plans for Ghorman. And so, here we are a year later seeing how it's going, right? Like what are they doing there? What are they building there? The people there are kind of wondering like, okay, what have they been up to this whole time? Clearly they're not happy about the Empire. And they've allowed the time and the time and investment of Cyril there to kind of get the attention of the Ghorman front, which is like a rebel cell that operates on Ghorman that the Empire knows about and wants to use for their own purposes of sabotage, to create an excuse essentially to move in and just like, hey, we're here for the rebels.
Yeah, try to.
We need a reason to be here.
Flag, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So because at this point in time, they are still working around the
Senate laws and the this
like the oversight of the Senate essentially. Like the senators are going to know.
And there's
stuff.
there's a specific like document or whatever, right?
Yeah. I don't know. There's something. But
what is that called?
Yeah, I forget what it is. But it's interesting to see, and it gives a lot more meaning to episode 4 when Tarkin walks in that Imperial conference room. He says like.
Until this battle station is fully operational, we are vulnerable. The Rebel Alliance is too well equipped. They're more dangerous than you realize.
Dangerous to your Starfleet, Commander, not to this battle station.
The rebellion will continue to gain us support in the Imperial Senate.
The Imperial Senate will no longer be of any concern to us. I have just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the Council permanently. The last remnants of the old Republic have been swept away.
That's impossible. How will the Emperor maintain control without the bureaucracy?
The regional governors now have direct control over their territories. Fear will keep the local systems in line. Fear of this battle station.
Yeah, and that's only 3 years away from this story arc. Right?
It's easy to forget that because for me, we jump around to so many different story arcs in different time zones. But yeah, it's easy to forget that the Death Star is only 3 years out from being fully armed and operational.
Yeah.
So it's in progress right now. Right now, it's in progress somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it
was Geonosis till they moved it, but I don't know where that Rebels episode is where they go there and it's gone. So I'm not sure if it's there still or not.
Right. Okay, so another thing that happened this episode, of course, Luthen sends Cassian to assess the rebel cell on Ghorman. And obviously he has a bit of an interest in, like, are they worth recruiting into our circle, right? Because at this point, it's like, it's very hush-hush. No one knows who's working with who. No one knows who's on the other end of the phone. It's a big step for him to even send anybody to go kind of investigate and really, find out, okay, what does this cell look like? What are they up to? What do they have to work with? What are they planning? Should we work with them? Do we bring them into the fold? Stuff like that, right? And you get his assessment when he comes back, and it's like
cloak and dagger, and
yeah.
shadow work.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Made me feel very World War II, like Nazi occupation stuff.
Yeah, and also just you're always thinking to yourself, like, man, like was it this episode that he has that conversation with the girl at the coffee shop, or was it the second episode? I forget.
I feel like it's the second one.
That was the second episode where she goes in and he's like, oh, he's out with friends, and then the guy comes in after a minute of talking to her. The forger?
I mean, like when Andor gets to Ghorman and he's at the hotel and then he's down.
That's the next episode.
That's the next one. Okay, we'll talk about it in the next one. But yeah, I thought that was cool. Saw, he's got a bit of a story arc here.
He's missing his breathing tubes.
Whatever accident happened, it's not yet happened yet. And
we can get to do the episode 3, but I think it might be leading into that.
Yeah. Mon Mothma tries to rally support for her bill, which, that was rough. It was rough to see.
Yeah, just jumping around and just nobody was willing to put their neck out at all.
Oh, dude, so much happened. I felt the first episode was the densest, and like that first conversation between Cyril and his mother is so dense with information. Like, it is a masterclass on telling your audience everything they need to know on multiple levels with a quick conversation. And you got to think of where his headspace is at the beginning of that conversation. He spent the last year with Daedra, where she's convinced his mother finally that he is this amazing guy. It's exactly where he's supposed to be on Coruscant, doing exactly what he should do. He's very important, and he's now like the most prized member of his family, even over Uncle Harlow, where Harlow has kind of been put in his place. And then now all of a sudden, in her opinion, but so he's got a year of that. He gets used to that. He now is at least equal to his mother in her eyes for the first time in his life. He's not the little boy that she's able to manipulate however she wants. And then, all of a sudden, in her opinion, he's on some backwater planet, lost his relationship, lost his standing with the Empire. He's out with the Hicks and Bugs and whatnot. Like, she starts treating him worse than we've ever seen before, because she just sees him as an utter failure. And now Uncle Harlow is the king again of the family. And that she's like so frustrated that she made all these sacrifices and did these amazing things for him, but he's chosen to go and live with the Bugs. Like, I thought that was such a great, and the worst part is he can't say anything. He knows the truth of the situation, and that if she knew, that she'd be so proud and like realize that this is a big step up for him. But he can't say anything. He has to suffer her abuse because that's his cover to get in with the Ghorman front.
I find it kind of funny, though, that Daedra and him, basically her only real relationship is with him, and so she uses him as a pawn for this job.
Yeah.
She doesn't know anyone else.
Did anyone notice that in Meg's nightmares that she's allied with the doctor that was torturing her?
I don't think I did. So, like, she's working for the doctor?
No. The doctor's talking to her like he tortured the soldier they killed. for her benefit, and like everything was this really dark, twisted thing.
Right, and it was Cassie,
and then she
in reality.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right.
I thought that was really interesting because it was expressing that she felt they were as bad as the Empire with what they were doing because they didn't even know this guy's name that they had killed.
Right.
That was cool.
That was what I got out of it.
Yeah, that was neat.
The after gas scenes were kind of cool. Yeah.
And then one thing that really struck me when you get to see Cyril's life on the planet. When he's in his apartment, it's all very warm, rich colors. All of the shelves are full, and there's knickknacks, and there's different varying qualities of the things on the shelves. Like some of the spiders look like they're ready to fall apart, but then there's like really expensive books and knickknacks and stuff. So it's this very warm, rich life, but his real life is very cold and surgical and precise and everything. So it's like his fake life on this planet seems so much better than what he's coming from. I thought that was really an interesting way that they set up all this stuff, sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Did anyone notice that Cyril's mother used Lucian's line from the last episode? Oh, how nice for you! It's a similar way that she says it. When Lucian says it to Mon Mothma, it's this like you're trying to feign innocence and appear to be good and everything. But where Cyril's mother says it, it's this like she shows that she doesn't really care that Cyril can see her. It's all about her manipulating him. She wants to see him because it'll bring her pleasure and be able to understand what he's thinking and everything more through his body language. But then right away she kind of like pulls the victim card where she's like, it's okay, I'll just try and remember what you look like and don't worry about me, sort of thing. Like, it's this weird guilt trip situation. I watched that conversation 3 times back to back because the nuances are constantly changing, and she changes how she's the victim in the conversation in so many different ways. And it's all about like how he slighted her by taking this worst job and everything.
Right. It's always about her.
And he doesn't have Dedra anymore to stand in the way and be...
As far as she's aware, they broke up.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, she's not limited to the once or twice a week or whatever that Dedra was going to put in place, and, the no Cyril bullying policy that she had in place. And,
that's right.
Stuff like that.
But I just loved how they showed even Cyril undercover had implicit faith in the Empire. So, yeah.
Episode 5 is called I Have Friends Everywhere. Same people involved, same date. Clea learns that Skalden intends to search his gallery room after one of his pieces turns out to be a forgery, threatening to expose a bug she planted in the room and forcing her to extract it during an upcoming investiture party. Andor connects with the Ghorman rebels and learns that they plan to intercept a weapons shipment, but he deems them too inexperienced and shoots down the plan, much to their frustration. Cyril reports back to Coruscant with news of the heist, with Partagaz and Dedra agreeing to let it go through to empower the control of the rebels. Meanwhile, Saul kills Pluty after learning that he's a traitor and has Willman work the extractor on the heist instead. So there was actually a lot that happened in this episode. I can never pronounce his name correctly. Partagaz. He's the older fellow at the ISB.
Oh, is that the guy who is supposed to be the guy on the Death Star later?
I don't.
The main ISB, the head of the ISB.
No, that's what's his name? Yularen.
Yularen.
Yeah, that's Yularen.
I recognize that name. Yeah.
And he's name dropped a few times in this episode, or in this arc, or in this show actually. They name dropped him in season 1. Major Partagaz is the guy. He's played by the actor who was in Game of Thrones, and anyway, his first name is much easier to say. It's Leo. Screw it. I'm just gonna call him Leo. Okay, so we kick things off with the dreadful news that one of their microphones in Skalden's collection could be found out if they get a reappraisal done on all of the pieces in the room, right? So, they have to come up with a plan to remove this microphone, before it gets found out by anybody. And of course, like any good spy story, this has to happen at a party.
Naturally.
So, like every spy movie
Classic
ever.
007
Very
move.
cliche, but never gets old.
Yeah.
So,
I was seeing Tom Cruise in the background there.
Yeah.
I've noticed something about the series is that there's always so many parallels as it's going through. Like almost every character has a parallel character between the Imperials and the Rebels. Because like Luthen's Imperial counterpart is the guy in the white cape. I forgot his name.
Krennic,
yeah. Like they're the same character. They use the same tools. The difference is Krennic can just be who he is, whereas Luthen has to hide who he is.
Yeah. That's a good parallel, actually. Yeah.
But like every character has a parallel character. Daedra is basically Jen Erso's parallel character for the Empire. Mon Mothma is kind of like the parallel character to Saul Guerrera, except for Saul Guerrera uses force and violence rather than politics. So I just thought that was interesting. There seems to be like a counterbalance of everything, and
Yeah.
That's cool.
Never thought about that. Yeah.
Did you guys see any more new pieces of the collection in the room again that kind of stuck out to you?
Trying to figure out those gauntlets the camera's like right up on.
Yeah,
I thought
claws.
those were more medieval.
By who? Oh,
those were very medieval.
Yeah,
the ones we saw in season 1 were the Stalker gauntlets. These were more like Gothic plate, maybe like 15th century.
Yeah, since we're talking about it, I thought they were almost from the Ewok Adventure show. That'd been a funny little Easter egg.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought the same thing.
Because like there's the witch, and then she has like a knight leader, right? Like kind of like a Black Knight character. I wonder if that maybe his.
I haven't watched those since the 80s.
Then again, this is before that happened. Yeah, timeline doesn't line up.
Let's start over. My friend suggested I meet your father.
Your friend might have come himself.
Unless I'm the friend, right? Or maybe I'm a snitch, and you're my payday. Maybe I'm ISP. Maybe you just put everyone you care about into a cell. I am who you want me to be, but that's just you getting lucky. People die rushing. You have no idea who I am. You need to be more careful.
It's hard to be patient when your world is falling apart. My father's very proud.
And I can't wait to meet him. I need fabric. When is a good time for me to come by the showroom tomorrow?
I'll send word in the morning.
Thanks for stopping by.
Clearly, these rebels are not ready, right? Like they're very green,
Yeah.
right? So
They're very arrogant too.
very arrogant. They're very stubborn.
What do the clones call it? Shinies?
Yeah, shiny.
Yeah.
And he said no blasters. Just told him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that's episode 6.
That's like way into episode 6.
I can't wait to talk about episode 6. It's almost like everything happened in episode 6.
Yeah, everything led into
Right.
episode 6
Yeah.
for sure. Because I did feel like the first 2 episodes were just generally lead up. There wasn't. I feel like there wasn't a lot of like cliffhangery endings like we got in the first arc.
Yeah, it was also an interesting contrast with Cassian. Like you guys were saying, how Cassian was going off on her about, kind of making that kind of like rookie mistake and just kind of school her, but then yet kind of loses it. And when he goes into Luthen's like museum shop, straight up like almost blowing his whole cover, blowing everything just for Bix.
Yeah,
I found that interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good parallel, actually. Yeah,
definitely. Something about I forget her name now. The actress that plays Daedra. She said that when she was researching the character, she researched what psychotic women are like. Like when she had to kind of play the role, right? And apparently it is in their nature to get other people to do their dirty work.
That makes sense to me.
It was in
probably very manipulative people.
Yes, it was in the declassified at the Andor declassified thing, and I thought that was really interesting. And that's Cyril, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, she's a psycho, and Cyril is her lapdog that she just kind of gets to do her bidding.
He's a pawn, but he's hoping that he's gonna move up the ranks.
That explains why when Cyril enters the apartment, it's the first time you see her with her hair down and she's wearing feminine clothes.
Yeah,
like she has every moment planned out.
Yep, 100%. Yeah. It's like they were made for.
Also, we get to finally see the. Remember, we were talking about during the previews. They were in the cafe with all the spiders and stuff on the wall. That's the cafe where Andor meets the Ghorman lady. So now we know what the spiders mean. I thought that was really interesting.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, during the trailer, we were speculating about that. All the stained glass and the drawings or the paintings on the wall. Yeah. Remember, on the ceiling and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that makes a lot more sense now that Ghorman is like, you know, they're spider centric over there. Yeah. They probably have their own Spider-Man.
That's so terrible. Tom Holland forever.
Yeah. All right. So Cyril has an interesting thing to say about, you know, when he speaks to Leo about, you know, his job on Ghorman. He's like, "It is my honor, sir." You know, it's like, this is the best day of my life.
Yeah.
And he's like so stoked to be on like a covert Imperial mission.
And he just talked to the head of the ISB.
Yeah.
That's a big dog.
Oh, I know. I love how much he cringes when he says it would be our honor. It's like, what? Like, this is a pathetic assignment. Like, what a waste of time. I put you on it because I don't think anything of you. And then he walks away, and the guy just shrinks into himself. Like, why would I say that?
Oh, you mean the ISB guys?
Yeah. That's the other time.
Yeah. I guess he's had that a lot. A lot of people have told him, "Oh, it's my honor to do that." You know?
Right.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Okay, so Saw just straight up killed Pluty, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, man,
was there any tells that he was?
I have no idea.
Undercover.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna ask you guys that. Like, did anyone have any kind of suspicion about him or anything, like any inkling at all that this guy was?
The only thing was maybe he was trying to get the extra information of where it's going to be ahead of time. But other than that, I didn't notice anything.
Yeah, the way he tries to get the information from Saw when they're having that little sit-down coffee, that was the moment where I'm like, oh, he might be a plant because, like, he's clearly nervous asking for the information. You know, maybe I could narrow down the combination I need to remember if I were to know exactly where we're going. And like, he's looking down and he's self-soothing in his body language and whatnot. In that moment, I was like, oh, this guy really doesn't want to ask this question.
So you caught on to that like way faster than me, because I just kind of thought like, oh, well, you know, it's one of those conversations that they always have where it's a need to know basis, you know, and it's just kind of giving me the idea like, okay, this is how the rebels operate in this time, right? I had no idea that they were intending it to be a conversation that was hinting at the fact that he was actually not a rebel at all.
I don't know for sure that he was an Imperial guy, but what really shocked me was whether he's an Imperial or not. That Saw answered really shocked me.
Yeah, I didn't think he would either, but then we learned later why.
I think Saw had planned it either way, what to tell this guy in advance. I think he wanted to suck in Luthen's tech into his people, like that he really wanted that guy specifically, and whether or not his own man was an Imperial spy or not doesn't matter.
That really shocked me when he killed the other guy. Because it kind of blindsided me as to like why, right? and then he pulls out that little communicator, and I was like, oh, like dang.
I was like, oh dang.
What do you guys think of Luthen visiting Biggs?
I thought he was at first checking in on her because he knew she was having some like mental health issues, flashbacks and stuff. He found the drugs, the sleeping stuff. But
he knew where it was before he walked in. He walked straight over to it.
Yeah, I at that point I had assumed the room was probably bugged to some degree.
Absolutely, or at least watched. Mm-hmm. Oh, just when I was first watching it, I got a cold feeling in my stomach because I was just like, either this is the most humanity he's ever shown, or this is a total play. And then you find out later that it's probably a play. It left it kind of ambiguous. Or at least maybe I missed something.
I can see it tying to the very last scene of the 6th episode. We can talk about that later. But other than that, like I overtly see anything that seemed too manipulative of him being there, at least personally.
What about, like, he didn't want her to tell Andor that he was there and whatnot? Like, there's multiple
But he didn't
layers
tell her
of
that either. So it sounded like he was testing her to see if she would bring it up.
No, but he wanted to see if he had compartmentalization between them and what Andor would do if he did get the information.
Right. We did see the Yeti guy again. We haven't seen him
the big
since Rogue One.
Yeah, Saw's Yeti.
Yeah, I forget the guy's name.
Yeah,
the big Gatling gun.
Yeah, that was cool. That's cool.
We also have 4 tubes now.
That's right.
Yeah, Tubes is back.
Yeah, tubes and tubes.
Oh, it's actually the end of episode 5 that Saul does that speech with the guy where he's like, "You're here. You're here now.
You're here.
That is in this episode.
You're right here.
That's right. Yeah, that's what we were going to talk about.
And you're ready to fight."
Yeah, and I thought that was so funny because he, after the kid like sets the explosives, he's got the mask on and everything, and Saw doesn't have anything on. He's just breathing in the fumes that like burns your insides. He, like, convinces the kid to do it. And I find it really funny because when we see him in Rogue One, he's got a breathing apparatus. Yeah. So it's just that poor kid.
Well, something that I noticed about that scene is when the scene starts, his entire crew is standing on the platform. But by the end of that scene, it's just the 2 of them standing there when he opens the channel. That machine that they opened the tube with, at first I thought that was some kind of like extractor to get the materials out. It's basically just a glorified droid when you actually look at it at the end of that scene. All it does is unlock it.
Yeah.
So is it using that burning fluid to open the door, like melt through it or something?
No, it's more like an R port that the Astromechs use. It's just like a complicated version of it that it's like a combination lock more than anything.
Oh, you're talking about the side angle when you look at the
I think kind of the idea of that mechanism that he was teaching, what's his face to use? Pluty.
Booty?
Yeah, Booty. Like when he was teaching Pluty how to use it, like I was trying to think like, okay, is that, because we know, Willman's, he's like an explosives guy, right? So he builds bombs and whatnot. But he also knows a lot of other stuff. And so I was thinking to myself, like, hey, what is this thing exactly, right? But yeah, it's basically like if you watch any heist movie where they use one of those like drills to like drill through a vault door.
Yeah.
To me, it kind of
like a safe cracker.
Yeah, like a safe cracker. It kind of reminded me of like a very high tech safe cracker with multiple ways of cracking different types of locks, right? And because they have to safely siphon rhydonium, which is incredibly toxic and dangerous and flammable and explosive, like everything that they have to do to perform this extraction in a locked, pressurized compartment, I would imagine, is very hard to do, right? So they do need someone who knows what they're doing. They do need someone who knows how to use this piece of machinery. They need somebody to know how to use it as well as familiar with the lock mechanism that, the rhydonium's inside, right? So yeah, but I thought that last scene there with him and Saw just kind of broing out there, breathing in rhydonium and essentially like having a nice rhydo smoke outside in the rain. I was like, what is happening here? Like, I don't know. I was so confused with that. Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know.
I think we were seeing Saw's ability to inspire people to his cause.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely part of it. It was a good explanation of where Saw was between Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah, he's like losing his mind more.
And he referenced when they were in the forests of Onderon, which I think we see with the Bad Batch, right?
Yes, when he was sane.
Right, yeah.
He's so different, right? Like, if you look at that version of Saw and now you look at Saw right now, it is like a total, it's been like, at this point now, it's been almost 16 years, since we last saw him in the Bad Batch. And so it's like he's a different guy. Like he's a changed guy, and he's been
doing underground warfare for 16 years.
Yeah, like
his body has been replaced in numerous spots. Like he's.
Oh, they say war changes people, right? And a lot of the wars that have changed a lot of people have not lasted 16 years, right? At least people that are alive right now.
And, not since the 100-Year War.
Yeah, so it's like, man, like I can't imagine like what this guy has like gone through, what he's had to do to survive, to be who he is known to be, which is the guy who the Rebels Alliance separate from because of his ways, right? But he is
Like,
clearly
lost all morality.
Yeah, but he is also clearly the kind of guy that somebody can listen to and believe in. You know, like what he is passionate about, why he needs to fight the Empire, why he does what he does, is a reason that he has his partisans, right? And I think it's a different type of fuel in itself as to why somebody would fight the Empire as a rebel than the kind of speech that Luthen would deliver to say like Lonnie, right? Like it's a different type of angle as to like, you know, okay, one of them is like very rageful and the other one is, you know,
calculated,
very calculated, very, and they're both very depressing.
I think like Saw is definitely a psycho, but he basks in the glory. That's his major motivation to me, is that he loves the madness and the chaos and watching the Empire burn. I think he might have been a terrorist if it hadn't been for the Empire, because he's always been an extremist who's enjoyed the battle and putting himself in the most chaotic situation.
Yeah, ever since he, like, cause this all started with his story when his sister died.
Yeah.
So he is a man that is fueled by rage.
And that was fighting the Separatists on Andor.
Yeah. So like,
even when his sister and him first joined the guerrilla warfare on that planet, even then he's a psycho that's trying to put himself in the most dangerous situations. His sister just created the first madness and gave him justification.
I don't quite agree with that. I feel like he was very competitive.
Yeah, competitive is the word I would use too.
Because he really wanted to be...
He wanted to be the leader.
Yeah, he wanted to be the leader, and maybe it ties back to what you're saying earlier, Darian, where he really wanted the glory. But it was not nearly for the going after it in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that is where I mean, like it all ties back to he basks in the glory in every moment that he can. That it's not like an adrenaline thing. It's like a weird ego that can never be satiated.
I think I agree with that. There is definitely a bit of an ego to Saw, right? And
for sure, that's what got his sister killed in the first place.
Yes, yeah, and also we've seen that ego come out with him in Rebels as well. Like when small conversations, you know, when he's talking with either Ezra and Sabine or whoever else, and it's just the way that he goes about things, and you know, his little chuckle and his humorous jokes that he kind of. He makes these like jokes that are filled with his truth in them, right? How he perceives things and he's a messed up guy, you know, by the time we see him in this show, and then by the time we see him in Rogue One, he is just burned out. You know, that's the Saw that is done with life, right? He is ready to just not give up, but he knows he can't be the guy that has to keep this fight going, right?
Just taking a moment. So when he rescues Jin as a child, that was probably before he started going like too crazy.
Yeah,
that would have been very early in the Empire existing.
I think that was like maybe 5 years or something after
the Empire
began. Yeah, something around there. I forget exactly when that flashback takes place, but you know, Jin's already 10 or something like that, right? I forget how old she is exactly, but by the time Rogue One comes around, you know, that's like, okay, yeah, she's like late 20s, mid 20s. I don't know, somewhere around there, right? So yeah, and he's less kind of lost his mind back then. So.
Yeah, I would think so, because I feel like she would have picked up on it and not remembered him in such high standard.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, like leading into that moment later in Rogue One with Saw kind of being that last moment with Jin, you know, save the rebellion.
That's right.
Save the dream. I will run no longer.
I like you see his paranoia ramping up as the time goes on too.
So when we're on Coruscant with Cyril's mom and she has the television on, and that show was just like straight out of the holiday special.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Those ridiculous wigs,
variety style.
Yeah, just like super like 70s.
Good Morning America.
Yeah. Oh man.
That was something I thought was an interesting lighting choice. Whenever you see Cyril's mom, she's sitting in a direct overlight with the entire rest of the apartment is blacked out.
That's true.
Almost kind of noir.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this final episode here. It's called What a Festive Evening. Cassian insists that Ghorman's rebels are unprepared and argues with Luthen upon learning that he attempted to persuade Bix to return to action. Luthen chastises him for his short-sighted vision and instead sends Vel and Cinta to help the Ghorman rebels pull off the heist. Vel and Cinta fully reconcile and rekindle their romance. The heist is a success, but Cinta is accidentally killed by one of the fighters, much to Vel's despair. At the investiture party, Krennic and Mon Mothma calmly debate between themselves and a group of other people there. Meanwhile, Clea manages to extract the bug using Jung Lonnie, right, as a distraction. Bix and Cassian break into Dr. Gorst's new office on Coruscant, and they kill him using his own torture method and then blow up the place. So that was really cool. Let's start with the beginning, though. I guess, we had a bit of an argument between Cassian and Luthen. I'm sure, Darian, you have probably something to say about that.
Not too much. It was a pretty straightforward exchange between them, which is weird because normally they're the ones that are talking in metaphors. But Luthen doesn't accept his answer, which I thought was interesting because we've seen him trust Andor up to this point. And he's just outright like, no, these people are not worth the risk. Whereas Luthen just pushes past it anyways, despite this warning.
I think Luthen's getting lost in the big picture and is starting to just see people as strategy and not as individuals, which I feel like happens more
losing control at this point.
I think he speaks to that,
like
right? He feels like he's losing control to what's going on.
Yeah, they have a conversation at some point in this arc where he says that he feels like they're drowning. Because now there's so much, so many parameters that he feels like he has to control that it's now getting a little too overwhelming for him and Clea to just operate as they have been this entire time, right? Like it's been manageable up until this point, and now too much is happening.
Too
They're
many
like
lies, too many things to keep straight.
Yeah, too many bugs, too many microphones,
and,
too many leaks, too many people that could, like get captured and they might know too much. Like there's too much going on, and it's like he feels like he's drowning. And so I liked that conversation a lot.
Yeah. He also throws the last thing that Andor said to him in season 1 back in his face during this conversation. Take me in or kill me.
Right. Yeah. That was smart.
Right.
Yeah. Matt, how'd you like the Vel Cinta going to Ghorman, filling in for Andor, and then things get messed up really bad? Like what did you like about this, like how this transpired? The heist, of course, like Cyril reporting how things are going to the Empire. Like, what did you think of all that?
I thought it was kind of cool that Cassian was like, no, I don't want nothing to do with it. And he already saw like where it was going to go. Things are going to go south. And I like he brought up, he had a good, interesting point about that they're feeding him. It's possibly feeding him misinformation on purpose. That's exactly what they were doing, right? And he caught on to that right away, right?
Yeah.
So something stunk to him. By sending them two into it, I was like,
It's funny though too, because
no.
if he would have just asked for information on that contact, he might have figured out it was Cyril.
Yeah.
Because admittedly, I guess I forgot
because
about
he
this.
knows who he is.
Yeah, because Cyril was determined to capture Cassian. I thought something was going to happen, and then Cassian bailed, and then the two other girls replaced him. Because I was waiting for the interaction where they both have to pretend that they don't know each other because they're both going to be in this heist.
That was a crazy...
I was expecting that to happen, and then it didn't.
Yeah. They could have crossed paths, but it didn't happen. Yeah, close call though.
Which could have been that could have been cool too.
Yeah,
he would know who he is. Yeah. It was pretty cool that too when she jumped off her leaping off the building move and then planning like the detonator onto the transporter and then jumping off, and then pretty cool. That was a really cool sequence.
Yeah, the electric mines and stuff. That was cool.
Yeah,
kind of like in Revenge of the Sith. How the Wookiee did it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I thought this whole heist really put it into perspective with the whole the meaning behind what it means to make a mistake in war, and how it can cost lives, right? And so,
especially with Greens.
Yeah, totally.
Don't know what they're doing.
Because Vel and Cinta, they have that whole conversation like, we're going to be the only ones with guns. The rest of you follow orders or get out now, right?
And then, of course, that kid just...
And, of course, he's like, a complete dummy. Man. And he brings a weapon and he threatens just some guy.
Some random guy in the street.
And it's like, dude, like, what are you doing? And then he shoots Cinta or whatever, right? I was like what?
Like, dude, yeah.
Yeah, was it Vel or Cinta?
Well, that was great, too. That was great, too, at the end when she was like, no, you look at me. Are you crying? No, you look at me.
Yeah.
You look at me.
Yeah.
That was a great scene.
Oh,
you're going to live with this for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's funny. They mentioned that in the Declassified. They said, Cinta probably was once upon a time the kind of person that would have just shot the kid, right? But she knows now it's actually worse for her to just drill it into his head that this is something he's got to live with for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
he
But she's
murdered.
not just
Daily
speaking.
torture.
Yeah, so
She's not just speaking to him in that moment, though. That speech is as much for herself as it is for that boy, because she's trying not to cry in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And when she's like her eyes keep these focusing, she's blaming herself because she put her girlfriend on that mission. Said, "I won't do this mission without her." There are several callbacks to the conversation in the cafe when they first arrive.
Mm-hmm.
That in that speech, like that speech is as much for her as it is for that dude.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, very well done. Very just another great example of like this show is just very well written, right?
Mm-hmm. And well casted too.
Yeah,
like, act that out so believably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you're saying, and she goes, "You killed a warrior, right? She's not just anybody. Like, she's a warrior that you just killed."
Yeah, all those
Dumb
people
idiots.
that are on the heist, and it kills one of the two people that were there to help.
Yeah,
put the whole thing together.
It's just
pretty unlucky.
As a viewer, the story that they're giving you is all you're left with is what a waste.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
Yeah, and that's the feeling that you get when you watch it. Is like what a waste that was.
I feel like you can feel that when you're in the transport as they're driving out too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The investiture party was very tense. We saw the recasting of Bail Organa. Jimmy Smits he was unable to play Bail due to a scheduling conflict, and this is something that Tony Gilroy. He didn't flat out say who it was or what character it was back at Celebration Japan, but he did give us the heads up that they did have to recast a major legacy character.
Yeah,
which really blows because
I had to look up if he died.
No,
why would they not cast him?
Because he was in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, very recently.
So like he's
played that character in everything.
Yeah, he's been in episode 3, episode 2, Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's like unreal. Like he is Bail Organa, and yet they felt that the character was so necessary to have in this show that they had to recast the role to tell the story they wanted to tell. Now, so far, I have not seen enough of the character to really feel that way, that it was necessary, but I do believe they are bringing him back for a much larger role in the next story arc, in the next 3 episodes. And that's something that I think they dropped a hint about in the Declassified this past week. But just a heads up there. So, we'll see more of him. Benjamin Bratt is the new actor who plays Bale. But I don't know. I was really hoping that wouldn't happen. And I do remember thinking when we watched season 1, when we did see Mon, quite a lot, and I remember thinking like, oh, I wonder if we'll ever get Jimmy Smits. And then of course Obi-Wan Kenobi was also out, and Jimmy Smits was in that, and so. To me, it was like, it makes sense if he shows up, and he didn't. And then now here we are a couple of years later, season 2 rolls out, and Jimmy Smits has been recast. And I guess it's just one of those conversations that it's a bigger conversation, I guess, is like, sometimes the recasting is kind of, I guess, essential, more recently, the big hot topic is, Ahsoka, right? We lost Ray Stevenson, and so, getting, I forget his last name, but Rory to play what's the character's name again?
I'm sorry,
I'm blanking.
Balin?
Yeah, Balin. So that's the there's a bit of a debate there. It's like okay, well, either we have to recast or we write the character out. Yeah, and
it was such a good character that we really don't want to get rid of him, write him out of the story.
When it comes to recasting like Balin, it's unfortunate that it has to happen, but in order to tell a story, it kind of needs to happen, right? And I feel like recasting in Star Wars is a much bigger deal than other cinematic universes. Like Marvel's done it a few times with a few different characters, and Harry Potter has had to do it with Dumbledore,
when
and
he passed away, yeah.
Even,
that still bothers me because I like the original. I liked both actors, but I thought the original actor portrayed the Dumbledore in the books better.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Is like, I guess when you have a series of movies based on like a continuity of it kind of takes you out of it. You know what I mean? And I think to me, like, I guess the important thing with Star Wars actors and kind of them not recasting intentionally and working around not being able to use an actor really is kind of the most important when you look at episode 9. And, they did not have Carrie Fisher anymore, right?
Yeah.
They wrote that movie around not having Carrie Fisher anymore because they didn't want to recast that role, right? And I think like maybe they just didn't think that the role of Bail was as important that they were like, oh, well, we'll just recast it. But like,
Senator Organa is not Princess Leia.
I said, Organa definitely could have. He didn't, and that part was so small when he does a like little cameo real quick. It's not weighted, right? They didn't need him in there in that moment.
Yeah,
for this episode.
For this episode, yeah. But that's why I think like they're definitely going to bring it back, and he'll be a larger role.
If they don't, I'm going to be annoyed.
I will be very annoyed if they don't. If he's got to be the main character of a solid episode for them, and it's got to be damn good. If they're going to recast a role like this, because like to me,
he better be like
Jimmy Smith has been playing Bail Organa for over 20 years, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Like that's like he's not Princess Leia, but he's been Bail Organa for over 20 years,
and he hasn't really aged, so he still looks the same.
Yeah. He was in Rogue One, Episode 2, Episode 3, like Obi-Wan, he's played the character in 4 different massive titles. And it's like, okay, this better be worth it because the actor's still around. He's still alive. It was just a timing thing. Like when it comes to Star Wars, you just make it work, I just couldn't believe that they couldn't make it work.
Yeah, do like pickup shots at some point or something.
Yeah, or just
it is
kind of
weird.
right around it. It is weird, right? So I don't know. It better be a really good story for me to be okay with the recasting. Because now it's like, okay, well, what happens when you need Bale again? Because they're gonna need Bale again. Like he's around. Lots of stories happening this time period. What happened now? Now who do you cast? Right? Who's Bale now?
Random schmo on the street. Hey, you want to be Bale for a day? Come on in.
It's like, it's like they didn't for Luke Skywalker. They didn't recast Luke Skywalker to play young Luke Skywalker. They had Mark Hamill do the scenes, then they had a body double do the scene, and then they face swap that body double to make it look like Mark Hamill, right?
Don't worry, with AI, none of this will be a problem very soon.
Yeah, well, yeah. Some fan edit on YouTube, you're gonna save our year. You're gonna save the show. Maybe I'm overreacting, but
hashtag save Bail Organa.
Justice for Bale.
Let's bail him out. There we go.
Yeah. Okay, Darian, do you have any thoughts on that? The recasting thing?
At least what's the guy's name? It was Benjamin Bratt.
Yeah, the new guy. The new guy is Benjamin.
He actually replaced Jimmy Smits on another TV show back in the 90s. So at least he's one of these actors that can take, like, he's already replaced the guy once in one show. So hopefully he can pick up on the mannerisms and whatnot that Bale had before. And while they don't look that similar, they also look like they could be cousins, maybe distant cousins. So it's not that bad. The guy's a pretty good actor.
I do find that really funny. I didn't know that he replaced him before. Jimmy Schmitz is probably just like, this guy keeps stealing my jobs.
Yeah, it is kind of funny how that works out. That's a bit like, what's her name from, what's that movie? 13 Going on 30. Jennifer Garner, there's a girl that plays her 13-year-old self, right? Mm-hmm. She reprised the role of a young Jennifer Garner in a different role in a different movie when they needed a younger version of the role that Jennifer Garner was playing, if that makes sense. If you can follow that.
If long she ages, looks like she could.
Yeah, and they did that like 2 or 3 times. They've done that, and they've used the same actress that is like...
It's like when you cast a lookalike.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal.
And yet they didn't cast that guy that looked exactly like Harrison Ford to be in the Solo movie.
I know. I'm still really peeved at that.
He really nailed some of Harrison's mannerisms and whatnot, just like the kid who did it in Looper.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'm not saying before Solo came out.
Like after I've always said this, like after about 15-20 minutes, like Alden sold it for me. But I'm still
he looks different enough that in the trailers and everything, it's like a little hesitant.
Yeah. But yeah, that other guy though, he was a solid choice because like
we don't know what his But at the same time, we don't know his acting chops. But yeah, he just looked like exactly like Harrison.
Yeah, well, but they cast him though for the young Harrison role in Age of Adeline.
Movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched that movie, and
how were his chops?
It was great. He did a great job. Like he convinced me as a young Harrison Ford. I was like, man, this guy's got it. Like I don't know how he didn't get the job.
Connections.
But I mean, Alden's a great actor, so like you know,
Alden was recommended by Spielberg.
So the party was tense. You know, Krennic shows up, Luthen's there. You know, you get the heads of the rebellion and essentially the people that kind of lead to Krennic's downfall and his death. You know, because of who he is and what he's doing. And they're all in the same room and they're having like some very quippy political debate as they're looking at some art. And Clay is, meanwhile, she's like tugging on this thing, trying to get the microphone off. I thought the whole sequence was very well paced, super well, well done, very tense. How did you guys like that whole ending to that episode?
I could feel the tension in the room, which I thought was really well done.
I kind of wanted to smack the ISB officer because he never followed her instructions. And it's like, your life depends on this moment, and you express that to her, and you're still not following her orders.
I think he's very skeptical because his bosses are in the room, and they're going to wonder, why is he talking to this girl and not part of the group, like doing their own thing. Yeah. It was pretty suspicious.
Yeah, Matt, you.
It's a great sequence. It's very well done.
It is. Yeah. And then the episode, of course, ended off with Bix and Cassian going into Gorst's office, killing him, blowing it up. Like, you know,
felt a little tagged on for me.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was great.
I enjoyed it, but I was caught off guard when it started happening.
I feel like
it came out of nowhere.
See, to me, and I think they talked about this in the Declassified, but it was more than just revenge. You know, like for her, it was a way to try and like move on from
for sure
from the nightmare.
Because now that she has the kind of like a bookend to what happened, because now this guy's he's dead, he's gone, he's not gonna be able to come back, he's not gonna do it again. She's never in that place again. Right?
And now she knows that he knows now in his final moments that he knows what it's like.
Yeah, that too.
To be under that incredible torture method, right? And very justified because earlier in this season they talked about replicating his particular methods elsewhere in the galaxy.
Well, I think they're going to move him up from being an ISB interrogation person to something that has his own department in the Empire.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen with that.
They had said that.
Yeah. Pretty crazy because like maybe that could have changed things and how they dealt with...
Interrogate rebels, yeah.
Right. How they interrogate rebels and stuff.
That might have been Leia on the Death Star instead of the interrogation droid.
Exactly. Or how they interrogate Han Solo with that electrocution like thing.
Like, they didn't even ask him any questions.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, it's pretty nuts to think like, oh man, like if this guy hadn't been, he was tortured, but like, of course he got blown up with the rest of that building and all its, you know, the tech in there, the research.
Blow you up.
Boom. It makes you wonder like, oh, nobody else was taught how to do this. All of his stuff was in there. Like maybe they just can't replicate
That's
it.
That's what I was wondering. So was he like the only guy?
I think so.
I feel like the Empire would have information
because it was his
tech.
thing. It was his thing. It was like an experimental thing that he kind of came up with, I think. That's why it's like
I'm pretty sure it would be like war crimes. So that, you know, it was a place that they weren't supposed to be, and they exterminated an entire race of people and recorded it, and now are using the recordings of genocide to torture other people. Like that's even for the Empire, that's maneuvering pretty safely to get that going.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well,
did anyone else, when they were in the Senate doing the Pledge of Allegiance thing, did anybody else think that they were watching Halo for a moment?
It did feel a bit like that, especially because maybe this is why, because I felt like the guy who was leading the Senate, the new alien race,
very Halo-y.
He looked like a brute from Halo.
Oh, see, I was thinking Prophet. Like he looks exactly like the Prophet of Regret.
Okay, I can see that too, just with jowls.
Yeah, well, he had jowls and the long earlobes.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah,
Arbiter, you know why you stand before us?
All right, last calls for this episode, and then we'll wrap things up. If anyone has anything else,
I thought it was interesting that Lazane, the character, he was the guy in the Ghorman underground yelling on the podium, and they were like, "Let somebody else speak." He's the guy that pushes through the young guy with the blaster during the heist, and he's like, "If that's real, I'm going to shove it up your ass." Basically,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I swore. And then he's the one that picks up the dead girl and takes her up to the transport. He's like, "Here, let me. I can get her." And they just accept him. Nobody's like, "No, get out of here. You're the reason she's dead," or anything. They're just like, okay.
Yeah, that did stand out a bit to me because like he seemed concerned to what was going on, and then after the confrontation, the blaster went off. He was just all of that was forgotten, and then he just was almost just a part of what they were doing.
Yeah,
I think it's because most of the Ghorman rebels have this like romanticized idea of what everything is. Like even how they try to recruit Cyril is the dude is like hitting on him in a way that you'd expect him to be hitting on some young girl. Like he's trying to seduce him, and he's being all suave and using these lines and stuff. And I remember thinking, like, that's the weirdest way to recruit somebody into joining your rebel movement.
It's because they're based on the French.
That's how they do things.
Yeah.
What?
It's romantic language.
Well, and then the same guy, when he talks in the meeting, he's doing the same thing. He's romanticizing, like, "Oh, we know what we're doing, and we can have blasters and everything." Mon Mothma's cousin shoots him down. It's like, don't even think, don't talk, because you've demonstrated you can't.
Yeah,
100%. And then, of course, he's the weak link. He probably shouldn't have been on that mission.
No, yeah, he should have stayed behind. All right.
Oh, and the wonder of them peeling the crate off of the transport and sliding it down the sewer grate onto the back of the truck. That was a beautiful shot.
Oh yeah, that was very cool how they did that.
That was awesome.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap things up here. Yeah, we gotta do Pablo Points of Poodoos, and then I got like something to say right after that. Just two real quick things. All right, Pablo Points and Poodoos. We already went over the score system and how it works when Matt read off his Pablo Points and Poodoos for the first 3 episodes earlier. But just a quick reminder, Pablo Poodoos, 3 is the worst for the worst, and 3 Pablo Points is the best of the best, and everything in between is what it is. Bendu in the middle. So we'll start with you, Matt. What would you give this story arc? And we're going to give like a singular score for all 3. So maybe take the worst score that you would award to one of the 3 episodes and take the best of the 3 and then just kind of average it out.
Probably. I'm getting like a 2.
2 Pablo points?
2 Pablos.
All right. Okay, so you liked it 0.5 less than the first arc.
Wait, hold on. But I loved episode 6 though. I love 6.
Yeah.
Let's bump it up a little bit.
All right. 2.5 then for the arc, or
I'm gonna say 2.7.
2.7. Okay. All right. Well, I only got 2.5 on my sheet here, so we'll go with 2.5 with honors. All right. All right, Darian. What would you give this?
I gave it 2.125, so 2 and an 8.
2.125. All right. Okay, so we're gonna round down. So you're at a straight 2 for the whole season so far. Blake, what would you give this?
I feel like I like this arc better than the first arc.
Okay.
But the first 2 episodes were really building into the third.
Yeah.
So I think I'll go with 2 3/8.
2 3/8. Okay, so that is probably rounding up to like what, 2.5?
I feel like it would round up. It's closer to that, yeah.
2 3/8.
4/8 is 2.5.
Yeah, it's 0.325.
Okay, so 2.5. So you like this 0.5
I
more
worked
than
in
last
Ace all day on the tier, so.
All right. Okay, so you like this one more than last week's by 0.5 of
I
a
think
Pablo
so.
point. Okay.
I felt like I was more invested
All
in
right.
this arc.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I gave 2.5 for the first arc. But for this one, for me, I really enjoyed this one. But I think I'm gonna give it 2 because even though I liked it a lot, the recasting kind of irked me. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair.
And I feel like as great as the story arc was, a lot of the meat kind of happened in the third. At least a lot of the action. You know, a lot of like the big things. And even though the buildup was fantastic through the first 2, it did.
This is where I kind of got stuck.
It did run a bit slower. Whereas like the other arc from last week had that tension in the middle with that rebel cell that was stranded, right?
Because of that, I felt like the first arc ended each episode with like at least a bit of a cliffhanger.
Yes.
Whereas this one, it was really just to lead up.
Yep.
And I was going back and forth in my head about the same thing. And I actually think I prefer this just because I feel like if you're
Feels
trying
more
to...
cinematic.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Because if they're trying to end with a cliffhanger every episode, I feel like it makes it feel too episodic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Instead of like one solid story.
Kirk did have some scores here. He said 1.5, 1.5, and then a 2. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna just, I guess we're just gonna round down we're gonna round down on average. I think it's probably closer to the 1.5 mark. So he's got 1.5 for this whole arc. I guess we can hear from him next week as to kind of the inside thoughts, and I mean, what the heck, like we can always change his score later if he changes his mind. But that's a huge drop off. That's one whole Pablo point.
From him.
Yeah, because he was at 2.5 for the first arc. So I think him and I are kind of on sync with preferring last week's over this week's. But yeah, it's doing well. Nick is probably going to give this one like 2 Pablo Poodoos, no doubt.
Man, that guy must have ate some bad lunch or something. He's poo-dooing all over the place.
I know, he's bringing down the team average. It's I love seeing like I love seeing the spreadsheet and like how it's all laid out. So again, podcast archives in the links below, but it's so funny like to see, you know, everyone's names across everything and kind of seeing like who didn't like what. I find some of the things that, like AJ, for example, like he liked some things that everyone didn't like, and then didn't like things that everyone else liked. You know, like it's just like funny how everyone's opinions are so polarizing at times.
Yeah, but I feel like he also speaks like Yoda, so he's kind of backwards at everything.
What? Or it doesn't?
No, but it would be fitting.
Everyone listening at home is like, man, who is AJ again? Like, what does he sound like Yoda? Like what? And AJ at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Actually, we have a recording from AJ.
Star Wars Escape Pod is the pod for you.
Podcast. You seek good podcast. Star Wars Escape Pod is the pod for you.
That's the one.
Leave a review, and may the Force be with you.
Thanks, AJ.
Thanks, AJ. Appreciate you, the man. He's never gonna hear this, I don't think.
Probably not.
Hopefully he laughs. All right, so okay, so that's it for Andor season 2, guys. Real
arc
quick,
2 of 4.
Season 2, part 2 of 4. So we got 2 more ahead of us. And real quick mention, because it does happen to be May 4th in a few days.
That's right.
So normally we do typically try to do a May 4th special episode as well.
Where we just talk about all the deals for like 30 minutes.
It's become a tradition. We got to talk about all the merch sales, all the game sales. But this was originally intended to be a kind of a May 4th paired up with Andor kind of thing. And then I thought that would have been just way too long. So if we get around to it, we will do one. If we don't get around to it, we wish you a very happy May 4th to everybody out there. You know, and in honor of, just in case if we don't do this, real quick, maybe we can just go around and share your plans for May 4th, or if you don't have any plans, what the best way to celebrate Star Wars Day is, in your opinion. Matt, we'll start with you.
Okay. So on Saturday, I'm going to go take my girls to the comic shop because it's free comic book day, but it's all Star Wars.
Nice. Sometimes the stars just align.
That's awesome. Awesome way to start.
So that's fun. Yeah. And then, my oldest daughter's coming down from Nevada, new baby on Sunday, and we're just going to binge like the whole trilogy on Sunday.
Nice.
Perfect.
Oh, we're rolling.
Perfect. All right, Darian, what about you? How do you celebrate Star Wars Day?
I'm not a May the 4th guy. I'm more of a Revenge of the 5th and 6th. Always 2 there are, no more, no less.
He's like, yeah, I'm not much of Christmas, but I'll celebrate Boxing Day.
Boxing Day is great.
New Year's is
Get the
awesome.
deals.
Yeah. All right. What do you do on Revenge of the 5th?
Generally board games and video games in the Star Wars universe with friends.
Nice.
All right, cool. That's good. That's a good way to do it. Blake, what about you? How do you celebrate May 4th?
Bryce and I are actually going camping on the Saturday night, so we're gonna try to watch that out in the woods. Watch some Star Wars.
Nice.
And then on the Sunday, which is the 4th, planning to go to a Star Wars event downtown at the 501st. We'll be at.
Alrighty, very cool.
That's where you're at too, right?
Yeah, I'm going there too.
Yeah.
All right, so May 4th happens to be very busy because my family had to reschedule Easter. So we're doing Easter, May 4th, and my sister and my brother-in-law's wedding anniversary is on that day as well. We also happen to be celebrating my nephew's birthday this weekend. So it is crazy. It's filled with stuff. So hopefully I've got some time to fit in some May 4th stuff.
You better cut that ham or turkey or whatever you do with a lightsaber.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't have time to do a celebration with you guys on here on Escape Pod, then I might just try and squeeze out an hour or two of playing some Battlefront 2. Gonna dive back into that, and Supremacy and Galactic Assault. It's picked up a lot recently. I don't know if it's just the time of day that I was on, but if anyone goes back on that game, there was coincidentally a few more people playing it this week. So that's kind of cool. Don't forget, go to StarWars.com, check out the Star Wars Day deals merch page that they launched out there, as well as
was there any Lego?
Some ways to celebrate May 4th. And I believe there's sometimes, Lego is launching all the new stuff on May 4th. If you go to the Lego shop, you can get a kind of a promo buildable Grogu free on May 4th. You can just go there and build that and walk away with it.
Does it look as terrifying as the one that Kirk got?
No.
Okay, that's good.
No, it does not. So that's kind of
I meant to ask him about that if it was like harvesting his soul at night or something.
I think he's not on tonight because it's just been wearing him down every night. He can't sleep.
Yeah, that thing walks around his house on its own at night. It's crazy. So anyway, go and check out all the ways to celebrate May 4th online. Go pay StarWars.com's YouTube channel a visit today or yesterday when this episode drops. And hopefully we get around to doing a celebration at some point. That would be really cool, and it would be really fun. Last thing is I recently guested on another podcast as of it launched this past week on May 1st, and it is called Switch to the Past. It's a Nintendo focused podcast, and in celebration of 20 years of Revenge of the Sith, myself and the host of that podcast, Mike is his name, Mike and Neil co-host that. So it was myself and Mike. We were chatting about the Revenge of the Sith Game Boy Advance game, which we had both played when we were kids on the Game Boy. So that was really fun. We had a long chat about that, and it was just their way of celebrating Revenge of the Sith and also Star Wars Day, being this weekend. So I thought that was really cool. For those of you who are in our Discord still, because we closed public access, I've dropped a link in the Launchpad channel, and I'll also drop a few more mentions as kind of the weeks go on. So go and check out Mike's podcast, Switch to the Past. If you like video games, that podcast is also for you. So thank you, Matt. Thank you, Darian. Thank you, Blake. We will see you all in a future Andor Aftershow episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing the outcome of this season.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
1 year jump to the next one, I assume. I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know, or I have no idea where we're going to be.
Another year forward. So we will definitely.
The show progresses through time as fast as it feels like I do.
every week we age another year.
That's right.
BBY 3.
Yeah.
Just start measuring my life in BBYs.
Well, we're in the ABY now because if Battle of Yavin was in 1977,
that's true.
That's year 0. So we're in ABY 48, I think, right? Because in 2 years it'll be the 50th anniversary.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we're in ABY 48.
Like quick maths.
Quick maths. Smarts.
Math's easier if you just count it with Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's it. Yeah, it's not 2025. It's year 48. That's right. It's 48. Yo. Makes me feel way less old. Not really. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys, for hopping in. And we will catch you in the next one.
May the 4th be with you.
And may the 4th be with you. Yeah.
All right. See you out there. Keep flying.
All right. Thank you all, listeners out there. You are fantastic. And we do love seeing this podcast do well. It's a hobby. We love talking to each other. We love talking to each other for you. And as you know, it is ad-free, unmonetized, and we could use your help spreading the word about Star Wars Escape Pod so more people can just enjoy the show. So if you want to share the show with a friend, let them know that we're talking about Andor these days. And, your subscriptions, your follows, your likes, hitting that bell icon on YouTube, everything helps because it helps the algorithms, helps people find the show. And it always really makes us happy when we see a nice comment come in as to how much that you're enjoying the show. It always makes me smile. And I always share it with the other guys here on Star Wars Escape Pod. I always take a screenshot. I post it in the chats. And I think I'm going to make a dedicated channel for doing those if we start having more of those more frequently. Yeah, we love seeing people enjoy the podcast. It's part of what makes it fun as well. So we do appreciate that as well. Next 2 weeks, Andor, we got more stuff coming out. A book review for the Mask of Fear, Reign of the Empire series by Alexander Freed. It's going to be fun. And more stuff after that, as well as the animated show Tales of the Underworld coming out this weekend on May 4th. Look forward to aftershows on that as well. All right. May the Force be with you.